Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is the November 6th edition. November 5th edition of the From the Bench podcast. I'm your host, Mark Janish. This podcast will be a little bit NBA and basketball heavy, but wanted to go ahead and congratulate the Washington Nationals for winning the World Series in 7 games. Steven Strasburg has opted out of the remaining years on his contract, 4 years, $100 million respectively. What I wanted to get across to you today is just some thoughts on the Lakers. I put up a column, a little short column on LeBron James and whether LeBron James has abdicated his kingly throne in favor of a guy that's coming for him. That would be, of course, Kawhi Leonard, averaging 29 points, 10 rebounds a game, almost 30, 29.3 points a game, and 10 rebounds, followed closely by Lou Williams, sixth man extraordinaire off the bench, 20.3 points a game, and of course that followed closely by Montrezl Harrell, 19.3 points a game. The Clippers do not play tonight, but the Lakers actually do. They'll be facing Chicago at 5 p.m. Pacific time. If you have access to Spectrum Sportsnet on your cable or satellite system, that's when game time will be. You can read my thoughts at accessmediaglobal.com. There's also other posts up, some MLS preview podcast from the MLS crew. They'll be at CenturyLink Field in Seattle, November 10th, noontime Pacific. 69 to 72,000 people will be there. I'm not sure. I know 69,000 tickets have been sold reportedly. However, there is a possibility that could be expanded to the aforementioned 72,000. Wanted to go ahead and just talk some basketball for a little bit. Some of my impressions of the Lakers. On a positive note, Dwight Howard, who hasn't been in a Laker uniform since the 2012-13 season, I believe. He's playing quality minutes as a rim protector. He's not necessarily scoring a lot, but he's definitely bringing a presence in the middle. Want to congratulate Frank Vogel, new coach, for actually getting his team to play defense and buy in to what the Lakers are doing. I'm still not sold on the outside shooting for the Lakers. Hopefully that will improve with the return of Kyle Kuzma. I'm not sure when that's going to be, maybe in a few more games. And then the other thing regarding LeBron James that I wanted to explore is LeBron James on the downside of his career? Answer would be yes. He's in really great shape. He's playing really well right now, but it seems like he's being overshadowed by Anthony Davis. And I'm not sure what the Lakers are doing as far as their schematics, running plays. It seems like they're running their offense through Anthony Davis because he's a prolific scorer, very long at the 4. I'm not sure I would want him to play at the 5 position, but definitely a stretch 4 at the 4 solidly power forward position. The Lakers, I'm not sure their outside shooting concerns me as well. Danny Green has done a great job, but can you count on Danny Green for 20 points a night? I'm just not sure about that at all. So the jury's still out on that. If you have access to the NBA League Pass, I would recommend that you order it. If you can do it, check your local cable or satellite provider in the United States if you'd like to watch some solid NBA information. You can also go to NBA.com. Wanted to let you guys know also that there's 2 RSS feeds that are not operating well on the baseball page or the NBA page. What I'm in the midst of doing is changing potential hosts and providers for the site. We'll try to get that rectified hopefully later in the early portion of 2020 hopefully by the end of February, early March is my hope at that point. But don't get discouraged. You still have some social media options. You also have some link options if you'd like. And of course, I'll be posting some more things related to that. There has been a little bit of a lag in the information I've been providing. Busy with other things going on. Right now, as we speak, we're looking forward tonight to the beginning of the 2019-2020 basketball season. The Champions Classic from Madison Square Garden featuring Duke and Kansas, Michigan State and Kentucky. Michigan State, of course, led by Cassius Winston, leading the pack in the preseason poll. One of my good friends, we call him Detroit Rick. We'd like to have him on the podcast. We'll be discussing Michigan State football, Michigan State basketball as well. He's a diehard Michigan fan. Hope to have him on the broadcast shortly to discuss all things Michigan State. Once again, this is the From the Bench podcast. Any previous and future podcasts can be heard on Stitcher Radio, can also be heard on Spotify, and also on accessmediaglobal.com. So you want to go ahead and access those platforms for more of the content. Hopefully we'll get back to doing some podcasts because we're in between some academic time right now, waiting till January to complete some academics. Looking forward to that in the city of Santa Barbara. Right now, we're into the time of standard time right now, so still some light out, about, I'd say, 3 more hours of daylight. Want to also mention that the Around the League podcast is up. I also have posted Richard Deutsch sports media podcast. Always a good feature, one that I've featured consistently here. We'll get back into that rotation. Wanted to also mention a couple things for the local mid-major. Joe Pasternak off the Sean Miller coaching tree at Arizona. He's going into his 3rd year as UC Santa Barbara coach. The UCSB Gauchos have not, the local mid-major, UC Santa Barbara, has not won 20-game consecutive seasons since the 88, 89, and 89, 90 basketball seasons. They did so last year. They lost into the second round of the Big West tournament in Anaheim last year to Cal State Fullerton. So they're going to be opening up the season tomorrow in Santa Barbara with Jackson State. Now, they have 5 of their first 7 games at home. Now, the games they don't have, I believe, as I looked at the schedule today, the next game they have will be against the vaunted UCLA Bruins at John and Nell Wooden Court on the campus of UCLA in Westwood. That'll be Sunday, the 10th of November, coming up this weekend at 4 p.m. If you have access to the Pac-12 network throughout the Southland and the Pac-12 area, Arizona, Utah, Northern and Southern California, are certainly welcome to take a look at the UC Santa Barbara Gauchos. Hopefully they'll be looking at some better days, so to speak. I do have a post up regarding their team, who they have. Amadou Sow, S-O-W. He had a great freshman campaign, scored the most points for a freshman in the history of the program, 391 points. And then, of course, there's senior Max Heidegger. Now, I'm looking for Max, who came out of, I believe it was Malibu High School, to have a better senior year. He only was able to play 21 games as a junior. He got concussed, actually, in the first part of the season, and he never really fully recovered. He averaged 19 points as a sophomore, only 11.9 points as a junior. Hopefully the senior will be able to go ahead and do some good things for UC Santa Barbara. So Jackson State at UC Santa Barbara, you can go to the UCSBGauchos.com website for tickets. If you're local to Santa Barbara, you can make it up to the Thunderdome on the campus of UCSB. That would be area code 805-893-UCSB, playing Jackson State tomorrow. And then, of course, if you want to make your way down to Los Angeles and the campus of UCLA, they'll be playing UCLA once again, 4 o'clock p.m. Tomorrow. Sunday. The other games, the other game, that the Gauchos will have on the road will be against another Pac-12 rival, the Oregon State Beavers in Corvallis. I believe that game is November 20th. And if you want to look ahead to the Big West tournament, as I have, you can look to March 12, 13, and 14. For the Big West tournament at the Honda Center in Anaheim, California. It does appear to me, based on watching a lot of NBA action between the Clippers and Lakers and a little bit of more of a Western Conference feel, it does appear to me that Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns are, I believe they're 5-2 right now under Monty Williams. Monty Williams, of course, had a tragedy hit his life with the death of his wife in a car accident a couple of years ago. But he seems to have found a home in Phoenix. And I got to tell you, Phoenix, in my opinion, is playing harder. They're no longer a sure thing as far as getting a win on the road in Phoenix, but want to go ahead and just continue to promote them. And wishing all the best to Monty Williams. And glad that he has resurrected his career and found a spiritual faith that makes him happy, and I'm very pleased to report that. So watch Monty Williams. The other teams, that I'll be looking for out of the Eastern Conference, to be honest with you, I'm really impressed with the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, Kyrie Irving is scoring a lot of points and he's getting a lot of publicity, but to be honest with you, the Brooklyn Nets qualified for the playoffs minus Kyrie Irving. They're minus Kevin Durant, but they are a show. So if you can make it out to the Barclays Center, you happen to be in the tri-state area of New York, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, and so forth, and can make it out there, you can definitely go ahead, and I would recommend going to the Barclays Center. It seems like it's a pretty cool experience. They have some great players, Spencer Dinwiddie, Carius LeVert, and of course Joe Harris, who matriculated at Washington State University. He won the three-point contest. So it's not like Brooklyn was lacking players. They did qualify for the playoffs in a very weakened Eastern Conference this year. They should maybe even rise a little bit higher, but once again, it always does depend on the health of your stars. And in the case of the Brooklyn Nets, it'll be Kyrie Irving, the Kyrie Irving show for the foreseeable future until we see the return of Kevin Durant. I wanted to also touch on a little bit of football this weekend. What I'm looking for is LSU, Alabama, and Mr. Burrows and Tua Tagovailoa. So we will see whether LSU can reclaim some status against Alabama. That'll be I believe it's 12:30 on the CBS television network in the United States. Check your local listings, cable or satellite, for time and channel in your area. In our case, on the West Coast, it'll be 12:30. One of the things I would also like to say, I kind of have a feeling that you're going to see Clay Helton bandied about as possibly being removed at USC. Want to also mention, as a fan of the UCLA Bruins, congratulations to Chip Kelly. His team is now 4-2 after a 0-3 start. Horrendous start. They have not done well for the last couple of years under Chip Kelly. I thought Chip Kelly was headed for a $9 million buyout, which is his buyout clause. They just paid Jim Moore to go away, $12 million. So it's good to see that the Bruins of UCLA are getting some publicity here in the Pac-12. As far as Joshua Kelly, one of the best running backs in the collegiate ranks right now, but he's being under-publicized, of course, because UCLA hasn't really done much. They're tied with USC right now. Now, the other issue with that is the University of Utah Utes, who went into Seattle last week at Alaska Airlines Stadium, also known as Husky Stadium, on the corner of Montlake Boulevard there on the University of Washington. Boy, did they manhandle the Huskies and Jacob Eason. They're games where not even your coaching. You can coach all you want, you can instruct all you want, but sometimes you just come up under a better team. UCLA faces Utah next week. UCLA's on a bye week this week. And then they have USC, I believe, on November 24th, just before the Thanksgiving time holiday here in the United States. But I'll be looking at LSU, Alabama this afternoon, later this afternoon, during the college basketball games on the Entertainment and Sports Programming Network. The new, the first week of rankings by the College Football Playoff Committee members will be issued. I believe that's going to be 4 p.m. Pacific time at halftime of the one of the games going on at Madison Square Garden. Once again, Kansas facing Duke, 3-4, and then Michigan State is going to be playing Kentucky. So I'll be looking into that, and I'll have more for you on that. Want to also let everybody know, if you want to support the website, you can certainly do so. Go to accessmediaglobal.com. You will see a donate section. Click on the links that you need, PayPal, and all the credit and debit card information is there for you. If you find that this podcast is of value to you and you'd like to see the website supported, you're certainly welcome to do that. I'm not a money pusher. This is not a labor where money is involved, but it has been quite costly over the years. And I will also be launching some new things going into 2020, which I will not speak about right now because it's not relevant, but I will be doing some test programming with a whole nother website on a whole nother subject in 2020. So be aware of that. We're looking forward to doing that on a weekly basis, doing some test programming, and hopefully get a new website rolled out, and we'll take some things in another direction. But for now, this is the From the Bench podcast. I'm your host, Mark Janish. We'll be back later, perhaps over the weekend or early next week. You have a great evening. Thank you for listening on Spotify, Stitcher, and Libsyn. Go to accessmediaglobal.com for any other information, columns that I've written, things of this nature that you can enjoy there. Podcast galore. We have the Around the League podcast. We have the Richard Deutsch podcast. And we have the MLS Cup preview, which I mentioned. The next game, the final game, will be at CenturyLink Field on November 10th 12 o'clock on the pitch at CenturyLink will be kickoff. For now, I'm Mark Janish, thanking you for listening. Have a great day, everyone, and keep hope alive.